As Baptiste gets it once again, he's going to push his way in. Did he score? He did. Memorial takes the early lead. He gets the snap, handoff up the middle. Roberson has the hole. He's got room. He spins out of the tackle, and the Huskies find pay dirt. Next to McComb, Booker gets it. He dumps around and dives into the end zone.
And Edmond Memorial takes a 22-13 victory over Edmond North in Edlam.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Metro Ford of OKC pregame show as we get you set for high school football around the 6A world in the state of Oklahoma. We're spotlighting Edlam this week as Edmond Memorial travels just up the street to take on Edmond North. That's Connor Pasby. I'm Grayson Singleton. Welcome in to the pregame show for this week. And Connor, we've got an Edlam matchup between two teams that are going to be highly competitive this year. They've had intriguing starts to both of their seasons. What's your first thought on this game as we lead in?
Well, for Edmond North, they were able to bounce back after that week 0 loss to Farmington up in Arkansas. I thought Edmond North responded in a big way. And Memorial, so far in the season, they've continued to get it done on the defensive end. So you got defense to offense. Edmond North, we know what Cravens can do at quarterback for the Huskies, but he's kind of a tough task going up against a defense that is arguably one of the best in 6A, especially the front seven of what they have on the defensive line and the linebacker play for the Bulldogs. But it's an intriguing matchup for sure, as it always is with Edlam.
Yeah, no doubt. And Edmond Memorial, highly anticipated defensive showings in their first couple of games. They've lived up to the billing. Chauncey Cravens has completed 61% of his passes so far through this year. And speaking of the Edmond North quarterback, here's Carter Whitson on what the start going to Farmington meant for his team and how it would prepare them for these Edlam games, one of which are being played tonight.
We're going to head out early in the morning and head out there and compete week 0 against a really good opponent. That'll be different than last year. Last year's week 0 game was, we were trying to get out healthy. We knew we were going to win that one pretty good and move on. But setting that one up will set us up for the 2 Edlam games right after that. So we're going to have some good competition to start out the year, figure out where we're at, who we are going into those 2 Edlam games. 3 non-district games, get a little bit of a bye, a little rest, recovery, and then we go into the gauntlet that is 6A1 in our district.
So Connor, what's your first read on isolating this just to Edmond North and the start of their season?
Well, it's a fiery guy that they have at the head coach, and Carter
No
Whitson.
doubt.
Yeah, for sure. He really gets his guys going before the game, gets them fired up to play on Friday Night Lights. And they're still young. We know the talent that they brought back from a year ago. I know they won 2 games last year, but you can tell early on that it's a much improved group, and they do have some guys on the offensive side of the ball that can play.
Yeah, no doubt. And speaking of the guys on the defensive side, the man leading that charge for Edmond Memorial is Justin Meredith, and Blake Gamble sat down with him earlier this week, and here's what Justin Meredith had to say about how his team has looked through the first couple of games and what the outlook is going into Edlam 2025.
I think it's big in the town. I think that it's a big deal with the youth. I mean, they see it, they know it. Parents see it, they know it. But it's also, it's bragging rights. I talked to the team. I said, guys, you see these dudes every day. They're friends. Or, I don't know if they're friends, all of them, but they know each other. They're going to see each other, all the time. So yeah, there's the bragging rights parts. There's the town and the community part, and then there's the momentum part. Winning this game, it gives you a lot of momentum. It gives you a lot of confidence. It feels good. That's a big thing. And losing the game can be a downer, right? You don't want to lose that game. So, again, on my end, I look at it as we've got to manage it both ways. Whether, we can't get too big-headed, too cocky if we win, but if we lose, we can't get too down about it either. We got to move on.
Edmond Memorial comes in 2-0. Connor, your thoughts on the Bulldogs and Justin Meredith's squad?
Well, they're fast and physical on the defensive end. There's a lot of change on the offensive side of the ball for Memorial, but you don't have to worry about the defensive side of the ball for the Bulldogs. I mean, they give teams problems like what they did last year, and so far through 2 games for Memorial, they're able to get to the backfield. They got plenty of tackles for loss, sacks, getting to the quarterback. They're really fun to watch on that side of the ball.
Now, 2 of their players that lead the charge defensively, Colton McComb and Nick Booker, also lead the charge in the running game offensively. Last week, those 2 combined for 320 yards and 4 touchdowns on the ground, as well as combining for 33 tackles between the 2 of them. They do it all, and they are the leaders of this Bulldog team. Coming up next, we will get our announcers, Tony Sellers and Josh Helmer, on board with us. They will preview the matchup, and of course, we'll preview the rest of the Oklahoma 6A slate that is going to be live on a KREFsports.tv channel that you will view today. Stick with us. The Metro Ford of OKC pregame show continues after this.
Metro Ford of OKC.
Hey Oklahoma, Dusty Dvorak here at Metro Ford of OKC. When it comes to power, strength, and reliability on the line or on the road, these custom-built Fords don't flinch.
Who really loves you, Oklahoma? Drive home in a new 2025 F-150 for 5.9% APR for 84 months.
Built tough and loaded with torque. That's a win in any playbook.
With insurance premiums on the rise, business owners and homeowners are looking for relief. Insurica is one of America's largest insurance brokers, and Insurica is here to help. Insurica's exclusive process, RM4U, partners with businesses and homeowners to reduce the total cost of risk. The goal is to put more of your insurance dollars back into your pocket. Learn more about our process at Insurica.com. Insurica, specializing in you.
Spending life wisely means taking small steps towards a life of love and impact. And we're here to inspire and empower you along the way. Spend life wisely. First United Bank.
Rain. It's so much rain. If you're flooding, call Cave & Screw. The only name you need to know when it comes to floods in your home, in your business, not just rain, but broken pipes, broken supply lines for toilets, for sinks. Your attic may be raining from the AC being clogged up and the overflow in the pan. Call Cavens for your water rescue needs. We're here to rescue you 24/7, 365 at 405-573-3048.
Welcome back to the Metro Ford of OKC pregame show on KREFsports.tv as we continue to count you down to your game that you will watch here later on tonight. All right. Tony Sellers from Edmond Memorial, Josh Helmer from Edmond North will make up the broadcast booth of our spotlight game this week, the Edlam matchup between the Bulldogs and the Huskies. And here they are previewing their matchup from each of their own unique perspectives.
The undefeated Edmond Memorial Bulldogs, 2-0, having given up just 1 touchdown in the first 8 quarters against an Edmond North team that is surprising with a big victory last week over Santa Fe. For the Bulldogs, it's the duo of Colton McComb and Nick Booker, both on offense and defense. They are 2 of the top tacklers on the team at linebacker, and they are the top 2 running backs on the team. On offense, you'll see them both ways most of the night. For Edmond North, it's Chauncey Cravens, the quarterback, a 2-sport star for the Huskies. 2 touchdowns last week, no turnovers against Edmond Santa Fe. He'll be throwing to Reese Fisher and all his receivers. It'll be a tough battle on the Edmond North turf on Friday night. Edmond North trying to capture the Edlam City Championship, Edmond Memorial trying to stay undefeated.
Should be a ton of fun between these two programs. Edmond Memorial, of course, the big question, how are they going to replace the talented quarterback that went off to Kansas, Mr. David McComb? And so far, so good from Dawson Beaulieu. He's been terrific. The Bulldogs in their season opening wins, couple of wins versus Del City and Deer Creek. They've scored 35 in both. They return so much experience. 10 of 11 starters back defensively, and that defensive unit hasn't allowed points just yet outside of late versus Deer Creek. So they've been very, very impressive so far this season. On the other end of the equation, Edmond North, they've got a quarterback that they like a lot. Chauncey Craven's got some seat time a season ago, and so far very good for he and Reese Fisher and Antoine Johnson and others, and Robertson, the running back. Edmond North has been putting up a lot of points offensively. They scored 42 in a Week 0 opening loss down in Farmington across state lines, 30 points in a Edlam win versus Santa Fe last week. So I expect points between these two teams. I expect Edmond North offensively to test this experienced Memorial defense maybe a little bit more than they've been tested so far this season. Should be a great battle of quarterbacks. Beaulieu on one end of the equation, Craven's on the other. Going to be a lot of fun on KREFsports.tv.
All right, thanks to Tony and Josh for that. Again, they will be on the call for Edlam 2025 between Memorial and North. All right, Connor, time to run through all of our games that we will be showing on our network today. Now, Bixby, Piedmont, and Westmore are on bye weeks this week, so you will not see them here in Week 2. But let's start with Mustang and Broken Arrow. Mustang leads the all-time series 3-2, which means this is the 6th time that these two squads will meet up.
This is a great matchup, Grayson. Mustang, they beat up on UConn. UConn had some problems on the special teams. That score could have been a lot closer last week between Mustang and UConn, but the Broncos, Jaden O'Neal, that quarterback, 4 passing touchdowns last week against the Millers. Man, they got talent on that side of the ball. Ryder Murphy, the wide receiver for them, he had a touchdown last week against UConn. Broken Arrow, man, how about that game that they had last week up in Fayetteville? Went into overtime. Broken Arrow scored first, extra point in overtime. Then Fayetteville scored, and there was a penalty. So Fayetteville decided to go for 2, and they end up winning the game. So you know Broken Arrow is going to be fired up and ready to bounce back in a big way. They got Octavian Robertson at running back.
Good player.
Had over 150 yards against Fayetteville. So there's some talent on the offensive side of the ball. Expect to see a lot of points in that one.
I would expect so too, considering that last year these two teams played. Mustang won 49-48, and they did not have a Division I commit at quarterback. Jaden O'Neal threw for 4 touchdowns in that win over UConn. Speaking of UConn, they look to bounce back as they take on 1-0 Sapulpa this week.
I think UConn is going to be much better from a year ago. I think they got more dudes on the offense, some young talent for sure. One of them being Prince Shelburne. He had a good performance against Mustang in the running game. So a trip up to Tulsa for the UConn Millers, looking to bounce back after he saw some good things in that Mustang game, but he also saw some bad things in the special teams column on defense going up against that Broncos offense, but I expect to see UConn play much better up in Sapulpa.
This is the 2nd time that Sapulpa and UConn will meet. The first time was last year when UConn beat Sapulpa 10-7. So could be a rematch. Could be a redundancy of a low-scoring game. Edmond Santa Fe still looking for its first win of the season. They're 0-2 as they come down I-35 to take on the Tigers of Norman, who won the 2025 Crosstown Clash over Norman North last week.
And it's Edmond Santa Fe struggling on the offensive end so far through 2 games, and they're going up against a defense that has all the confidence in the world right now, and they displayed that against Norman North in Crosstown last week. Just how physical they are on the defensive end for the Tigers, and you know Norman's going to be gearing up for that. Jaden Spencer, the defensive end, 3 sacks in Crosstown. He really led them on the defensive side of the ball. So Edmond Santa Fe looking for that first win. And Norman, they've figured out this quarterback position, it seems like right now with Courtner, the way he played last week. So, yeah, I'm ready to see how that one goes.
Yeah, Santa Fe does lead the all-time series 13-6, so Norman will try to cut into that on Friday night. Deer Creek travels to Norman North. Both of these teams looking for their first win of the year. Deer Creek at 0-2, Norman North at 0-1.
Yeah, Deer Creek dropping that game to McGinnis to start out the year. Then they ran into a Memorial team that is not fun to go up against that defense. The Antlers struggled, only putting up 7 points against the Bulldogs. Norman North trying to bounce back after that loss to Norman High. They'll be without Mason James in the until the fourth quarter after he got ejected last week. So who's going to step up in the passing game for the T-Wolves? Nash Henry, you saw some good last week for what he can do at the quarterback position for Norman North. He's still young, so this may take a few weeks to get him playing some good ball. But this is I don't know if you can say must win, but both these teams, it feels like they need this win early on.
Yeah, no doubt. How about Wade Stanley, Deer Creek's head coach? He is facing his former team that he coached for 4 years, and when he comes back, he's going to be in a brand new stadium. So that'll be a really cool storyline to follow in that game. Moore taking on Southmore in the Battle of the Big Cats. The winner of this game, by the way, is the city champion for 2025. Moore is looking to tie the all-time series as Southmore leads at 9-8.
Yeah, I like this game. Yeah, both teams so far jumping out to a 1-0 record, getting a win over Westmore. Both teams playing good on the defensive side of the ball. You start with Moore, and they had 3 interceptions against Westmore. And Southmore can get it done on the defensive end, too. They found a running back in Diggs that rushed for over 140 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. So that's an excellent start to the season early on for the SaberCats.
How about this? And thanks to Blake Gamble for this stat. In the 17 games that these two have played, Moore has actually outscored Southmore 508 to 507.
About even as it gets right there.
I mean, it has been nip and tuck the entire time. Edmond Memorial finally taking on Edmond North. What's your last thing that you see that we haven't talked about in this matchup?
Yeah, I mean, for Memorial, defense for sure. Edmond North, they're going to have to take care of the football, it feels like, against the Bulldogs this Friday, because Memorial can take the ball away, and that's how they can kill teams. And they've shown that early on, and also stopping the run game, getting in the backfield. So we'll see if Edmond North can establish a running game. It can't all be Cravens. I mean, throwing the football. They have to get some type of running game going against Memorial to be able to keep drives alive. And that is tough to do against a Bulldogs defense, but it's a rivalry game, man. Anything can happen in Edlam. So, yeah, I'm excited to see how this one goes down for sure.
How about Kadrian Olds and former Bulldog Maddox Gregg? They'll lead the charge on the Edmond North defensive line to try to stop a running game that ran wild over Deer Creek for Memorial last week. All right, closing things up, players to watch. I'm going to start with Aiden Williams, a wide receiver for Norman North. And like Connor mentioned, Norman North will be without Mason James until the fourth quarter. So Aiden Williams caught a touchdown pass last week, one of the 2 that Nash Henry threw. I think he's going to be a real factor. He has to be a real factor in the passing game for Norman North to look efficient and explosive offensively. Connor, tell us about Prince Shelburne, the running back from UConn.
Yeah, I mean, he's outstanding. He showed that last week. Yes, he's young. He's a sophomore, but the kid can play. He's electric, had 19 carries for over 120 yards last week against Mustangs. So they showed that they can run the ball a little bit against the Broncos. They're going to have to do that again going up to Sapulpa.
And lastly, how about Jaden Spencer? He was the best defensive player in all of Oklahoma 6A on our network last week. 8 tackles, 3 sacks, including the game-ending safety on Norman North's quarterback, Nash Henry. I was very impressed with him, and I think if he continues to come along, him along with Ethan Young and the rest of that defensive line and pass rush for Norman High is going to be lethal all season long. All right, Connor, this one's been fun. Edmond Memorial taking on Edmond North, along with the other array of games that we have on the network tonight. That's Connor Pasby. I'm Grayson Singleton. We will get you out to your game on the other side. Thanks for watching the Metro Ford of OKC pregame show. Enjoy the games, everybody.
Metro Ford of OKC.
Hey, Oklahoma. Dusty Dvorak here at Metro Ford of OKC. When it comes to power, strength, and reliability on the line or on the road, these custom-built Fords don't flinch.
Who really loves you, Oklahoma? Drive home in a new 2025 F-150 for 5.9% APR for 84 months.
Built tough and loaded with torque. That's a win in any playbook.
With insurance premiums on the rise, business owners and homeowners are looking for relief. Insurica is one of America's largest insurance brokers, and Insurica is here to help. Insurica's exclusive process, RM4U, partners with businesses and homeowners to reduce the total cost of risk. The goal is to put more of your insurance dollars back into your pocket. Learn more about our process at Insurica.com. Insurica, specializing in you.
Spending life wisely means taking small steps towards a life of love and impact. And we're here to inspire and empower you along the way. Spend life wisely. First United Bank.
Rain. It's so much rain. If you're flooding, call Cave and Screw. The only name you need to know when it comes to floods in your home, in your business, not just rain, but broken pipes, broken supply lines for toilets, for sinks. Your attic may be raining from the AC being clogged up and the overflow in the pan. Call Cavens for your water rescue needs. We're here to rescue you 24/7, 365 at 405-573-3048.